We heard testimony yesterday, and I think this is, I'd have to say that I share this feeling that there's a principle behind this legislation of legalize now, enforce later. Now, you can disagree with that, but that's where I'm kind of coming from. And I also assume that you read the bill, and if I'm wrong on that, let me know, because my questions come to some specifics within the bill. Since do you agree with my opening statement that upon enactment, the bill simply requires security and fencing strategy to be submitted by your department before legalization begins?
It requires submittal of the plans both for infrastructure and for border security, two different plans.
Yeah. Okay.
And substantial completion.
Okay. Can you tell the American people now why they should trust the purposes of legislation to secure the border after 12 million people get legal status, driver's license, work permits, and the ability to live and work freely in the country?
Well, I think a couple very important things. Number one, the bill builds on the very large investment the country has already made in the southwest border and sustains that. And I can say, as a former governor and attorney general from that area, it's the sustainment part that is so very important, because that's where we've experienced gaps in the past. So the bill guarantees that. We build on that. Secondly, the bill actually supports border security in a way I suggested in my opening comments, which is to say the two major drivers of illegal migration across that southwest border are labor, and the fact that it takes so long to get a legal visa. The bill deals with both of those problems in a way that gives us more measurements, more metrics, more identities, more things that we can use from a law enforcement purpose. So it actually supports in that fashion the border security measures already in place.
The bill prohibits immigration officers from removing aliens who, quote unquote, appear eligible for legalization until a final decision has been made on the application. Does this bill tie the hands of immigration agents in the same way that the 1986 amnesty prevented them from enforcing the immigration laws?
I don't believe so, Senator. I think that what the bill does is, in effect, say, get the RPI process up and running, move it as quickly as possible, do the background checks, do the security checks, get the identifications out, and during that period, don't remove somebody who's not a priority individual.
Yeah, I thank you for starting out your statement in reference to the Boston situation. So I feel comfortable asking this question. Several media outlets have reported that two individuals responsible for the tragic bombings were immigrants from Chechnya. Before the brothers became the focus of the investigation, authorities questioned a Saudi student who reportedly was on a terrorist watch list. I sent a letter to you this morning asking for answers to questions about the bombers and how they interacted with your agency. I trust that you would promptly respond given the impact that this could have on the immigration debate. Questions. With regard to the Saudi student, was he on a watch list, and if so, how did he obtain student visa?
He was not on a watch list. What happened is this student was really, when you back it out, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was never a subject. He was never even really a person of interest. Because he was being interviewed, he was at that point put on a watch list, and then when it was quickly determined he had nothing to do with the bombing, the watch listing status was removed.
Okay. In regard to the older brother of the two people, was your department aware of his travels to Russia? And if you weren't, the reason?
The travel in 2012 that you're referring to. Yes, the system pinged when he was leaving the United States. By the time he returned, all investigations the matter had been closed.
Is it true that his identity document did not match his airline ticket, and if so, why did TSA miss the discrepancy?
There was a mismatch there. By the way, the bill will help with this because it requires that passports be electronically readable as opposed to having to be manually input. It really does a good job of getting human error to the extent it exists out of the process. But even with the misspelling, under our current system, there are redundancies. And so the system did ping when he was leaving the United States.
I'm done, but can I make a correction in my statement?
Certainly.
It might leave a misimpression where I said yesterday, over a decade after 9/11, a terrorism case has come to light that may involve an individual who overstayed his student visa. I'd have to say we just simply don't know, and so my statement was incorrect on that point.
Thank you. Senator Feinstein.
Much. Welcome, Madam Secretary. I have 5 questions, so I'm going to try and go very fast.
I'll try to answer very fast.
Great. The first one is on E-Verify. It's our understanding from your testimony in February that you are planning to develop a pilot E-Verify program for agriculture.